Hello again, this is Dino91 and bringing you the top 10 other animated villains. What I mean by other animated villains? Well, these are the villains I didn't exactly cover in any of my other lists. Just for obvious reasons. Since I wish I should have. But let's get to that later. At number 10, it's Chester V. From Claudia with a Chance of Meatballs 2. Now, there's something very interesting about this guy that I like. And other than the fact that he moves around like his legs are boneless, and that he's basically the inspiration for Flint Lockwood and become an inventor. But as it turns out, well, like in every other movie or TV show that has this sort of person, inside in a brilliant and intelligent being, there's a heartless evil monster. When Chester V realizes that, finds out about Flint's machine that can convert water into food, and that the food are able to act like animals. Well, he decides and he wants to use the machine to make these new food bars. Except the problem is he doesn't exactly know where the machine on the island is. So he uses Flint and his friends and to go after the machine and to bring it back. Kai, what are you doing? Anyway, let's move on to number 9, which is the other mother from Coraline. And now remember when I said number 10? And the other mother starts out, as kind and sweet, and definitely motherly towards Coraline. That is until the middle of the movie where until the part where she wants Coraline to sew buttons into her eyes. After Coraline refuses, things start getting grim. Very grim. The other mother's appearance starts to become more skeletal. The other father is like a lifeless zombie. Other Whitey is basically dead. And the other is in this universe is turning into monstrous versions of himself. Like the circus mouse becomes a golem of rats. The two has-been actresses as are nothing but taffy monsters. Others in their Scottish Terriers are bats, bat dogs. I don't know. Until the point where she becomes almost like kind of like a combination between the Slender Man, Iris Jack, a spider, and something else, but I can't really figure out what else can be. Number 8. And this one, now a lot of people would expect me to put on a list of villains. Mewtwo from Pokemon. Now, granted, I'm only going to use Mewtwo as a villain from the first movie, of course. There's Mewtwo is Pokemon number 150, a mono-psychic type. And if you play the original Pokemon games, he's the last Pokemon you can go after. Or once you beat the game. And the reason why is because he's in a location that's very hard to get to, and that you need a Master Ball in order to catch him. Or just weaken him down to the point where you can use Ultra Balls. But anyway, back to what I was saying before. In the first Pokemon movie, Mewtwo definitely presents itself as a villain because of its intentions and its demeanor at first. Mewtwo was created and to be the follow-up to Mew, for Team Rocket's use. I'm happy with the fact that Mewtwo is basically Mew's what's the right word to put this? Shadow? Oh, it destroys the map that it was created in, along with the scientists who helped create it. It joins up with Giovanni of Team Rocket. Where it's fitted with cybernetic armor that's supposed to, and I quote this from the movie, help you to control its psychic energy. It does this pretty well, to the point where Mewtwo even questions why he's doing this. It's until Giovanni basically tells Mewtwo that it was created to be it was created by humans to serve humans, and no other purpose. Feeling betrayed and outraged, Mewtwo escapes from Giovanni's possession, breaks off the cybernetic armor, save for the helmet, and until he returns to the island where he originated from. Got to the movie, Mewtwo invites, well, even though there was like maybe 10 other trainers actually present there, Mewtwo will possibly send out for like hundreds. It's different Pokemon trainers. The 10 that showed up, Ash, Misty, and Brock included, and are put to the ultimate test, which is fight for the right to live. Because Mewtwo has come up with a very evil plan. Seeing as he hates humanity, he wants to create an apocalyptic storm to wipe out all humans and any Pokemon who are under the influence of a trainer. And since his return to that island, Mewtwo is not only built up this palace of his from scratch, but has also cloned the first 3 new starters, Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle, and evolved them into their final forms, making them super powerful, if not slightly altered. And that, I like the originals. They have very interesting patterns to them. And this is actually the first time and we get to see Mewtwo use Shadow Ball. Oh, and for anybody who can tell me what those psychic looking Pokeball things are, or that Mewtwo sends out, well, I'd greatly appreciate it. Mewtwo who returns in Mewtwo Returns, and where his demeanor is changed from hating humans to just wanting to protect the clone Pokemon he has created and from Giovanni's clutches, as well as some other surprises. I won't spoil it for you. All I have to say is, if you want to know what I mean, go to YouTube, type out Mewtwo Returns. If it's there, I promise you won't be disappointed. Number 7. Archibald Snatcher from The Box Trolls. Now, seeing as this movie just recently came out, maybe last month, I won't spoil too much, but I will explain a lot about this character. Now, we've all seen this type of villain, a vindictive underling to the high-ranking officer or ruler, mayor, whatever, or is in charge of a town or city. He wants to get his hands on some of their power. He and his 3 henchmen and become exterminators for box trolls. And if you don't know what a box troll is, I suggest you watch the movie for yourselves. If not, I've got somewhat of a picture around here to show you what I mean. Give me a second. I know it's around somewhere. Oh, never mind. Because there's an incident that happened about a year ago, where a human boy was taken away by these monsters. Is presumed dead. And in return for getting rid of every box troll, I'm just going to call this guy the mayor. Here, promises to get a Snatcher or a white hat, which will put him in an elite cheese tasting club. Except there's kind of a little joke slash quirk about that. I mean, Snatcher, why on earth am I constantly going back to Thatcher? If you want to know what I mean, go see the movie while it's still in theaters. And it turns out there's something very odd about what's going on. Because when the boy, who supposedly is supposed to be dead, and it comes back to rescue one of the box trolls, he discovered there's that Snatcher and his cronies haven't exactly exterminated them all, but put them to work on a machine, and it will capture the rest. Among these is a crazy old man. That's all I have to say about that. Let's move on to number 6, which is Rasputin from Anastasia. Excuse me a minute while I take another drink. Ouch. Sorry about that. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah. Number 6 being Rasputin from Anastasia. Now, Don Bluth has done some pretty good work. Anastasia is one of them. Mostly because it's kind of historically accurate. Being that Rasputin used to exist. Although he wasn't exactly like what the movie portrayed him as. This guy is basically what I could assume was to be the first human zombie. Because during the Russian, let's do that again. During the Russian Revolution, and Rasputin, and when was basically a traitor towards the Tsar, his family. Like, they tried to execute him, he survived. They tried drowning him, he survived. They tried poisoning him, he survived. Until he finally drowned to death. And coincidentally, how Rasputin dies the first time in the movie. He's voiced by Christopher Lloyd, or Doc Brown from the Back to the Future films. By singing voice is provided by Jim Cummings, as in the song In the Dark of the Night. Rasputin is accompanied by a little white bat named Bartok, and the source of his dark powers comes from this little vial. Like thing, and he keeps around, which is able to conjure up demons and imps. Number 5, El Macho from Despicable Me 2. I actually like Despicable Me 2 a lot better than the first one. Mostly because we get a new villain. That and the minions get more screen time. In fact, the minions are basically the synopsis of the whole movie. I like the first one. And the premise of the movie is basically this. Some new villain has stolen this formula that can make something or someone incredibly powerful, or able to consume anything in their path, literally. Besides that, makes them purple. Or Bo and Harry. Gru was assigned by the Anti-Villain League and to figure out figure out who is doing this, and put a stop to them. And he's given a partner. While he tends a day job at a cupcake store, in comes Eduardo. Who has cupcakes designed like the Mexican flag, which coincidentally he has tattooed on his chest. Not only that, but he's also the owner of a new Mexican restaurant at the mall. Well, Gru realizes that he looks very familiar until he realizes El Macho. For those of you who still are wondering who on earth I'm talking about, according to Gru, El Macho used to be a super badass villain, and that was basically unstoppable. But at one point, he became so that he faked his own death to ward off suspicion. And it turns out he stole all this formula, as well as been abducting all of Gru's minions into using it on them. And I have to say, evil minions are a lot funnier than regular minions. This is until El Macho takes the formula himself and becomes what I can best describe as like a combination between Cookie Monster and Grimace from the old McDonald's commercials. Number 4. A lot of you are going to be shocked when I reveal this one. At number 4, it's Scarlet from the last Total Drama Island series. That was recently on Cartoon Network. Yeah, surprised me too. Oh, we all thought Max was the villain. Turns out Scarlet has been plotting the whole time to get rid of the show. Well, probably like most of the other contestants. And as it turns out, in the episode where everything goes all haywire, Scarlet reveals who she really is. A twisted, psychotic mastermind. And that even scared Max. But in the end, she was kicked off the show along with Max. Next. Number 3. The Joker from any Batman in series. By this, I mostly mean in the 3 animated Jokers. Jeff Bennett, John DiMaggio. No wait, I take that back. There's at least 4 or 5. Jeff Bennett, John DiMaggio, Kevin Michael Richardson, and of course, there's my favorite Joker incarnation, Mark Hamill. I don't know why, but I love the Joker better than any other Batman villain. Mostly because he makes me laugh. That's when he laughs. I don't know why that is though. I'm still trying to figure that out. I think it's because his laughter is contagious. Yes. I haven't exactly seen the original Batman animated series, but the Joker is one of my favorite villains. And for a number of reasons. 1. He's able to match wits against Batman, and at times. 2. His arsenal of weaponry, both ingenious and kind of hilarious, innocently accurate. 3, of course, his voice. If you can make a clown-like character talk like that, and I don't know where else you can go from there. But seeing as the 4 voice actors I mentioned and have gone off to do other works, it's possible. Oh, but there's one small thing I like about the Joker, other than, of course, his laugh and his appearances, is that I found a video that showed all the incarnations of the Joker, going from the old Adam West Batman series to the straight-to-DVD Batman in movies or specials, whatever. But the most recent incarnation of the Joker is from Batman and the Red Hood, voiced by John DiMaggio, and he makes the Joker sound more intimidating and more like the Heath Ledger Joker from The Dark Knight. Well, oh, this is good, yet terrifying at the same time. Number 2, and I just recently rewatched this movie after so long. Thrax from Osmosis Jones. This is basically one of the most dangerous villains that's on this list. And for good reason. Unlike all the others, this one can destroy you from the inside out. Which, I'm not quite sure what disease exactly Thrax is supposed to be, but seeing that he said in the movie that he's more dangerous than Ebola, well, there's quite a possibility. So I thought, let me look it up real quick. Basically, throughout the entire movie, Thrax is back, and pretty much that's trying to kill Frank from the inside. And what may appear to be like normal cold symptoms, such as inflamed and mouths, stuffy nose, that kind of stuff. But there's one other thing. Well, other than the fact that you want it to be the fastest working virus in history, basically, Thrax's his main power skill is, of course, that large cell-destroying claw that he has on his right hand. And he's actually used this quite a lot in the movie. He killed two salivary cells. He melts inanimate objects and can set at other cells ablaze. But I'm still trying to figure out what the hell he is. Okay, although Thrax's name comes from anthrax, he's basically must be like a combination of other diseases. It says, although one germ did say that he's known as the Red Death, not to be confused with that giant dragon from How to Train Your Dragon. But yes, Thrax is incredibly dangerous. Because he's a virus. And what's more dangerous than having something try and destroy you from the inside? Well, I'll get to that in a moment, but first let's go on to the honorable mentions. These ones you might laugh at me for, you might agree with me in some way, you might even criticize what I consider to be a villain, but these next three will definitely count. first honorable mention is Lemongrab from Adventure Time. Yeah, I'm putting Lemongrab as an honorable mention. Why? Because he definitely fits as a villain. And he tries to take over the Candy Kingdom when Princess Bubblegum comes referred to 13 years old. Well, after a witch incident. And, and he's constantly stalking the candy people. Oh, while they're asleep. And even when he has someone to roll beside him, they keep creating more lemon and people. Well, instead of using the food to feed them. As well as some other things I have a hard time trying to explain. Basically, in the episode Too Old, we see the darkest side of Lemongrab, mostly because instead of both of them being somewhat equal, one of them's incredibly fat and greedy and pretty much insane, while the other one is slowly becoming more and more tolerable. Oh, and is pretty much eaten. And in the episode Lemon Hope, which I have to admit has one of the saddest endings I have ever heard that I've actually commented on YouTube and got a lot of responses for. The second honorable mention is Roger from American Dad. Yes, I'm also including Roger, for a number of reasons. Mostly because he's one of the characters you have to hate no matter what he does. He's vindictive, he's spoiled, he's constantly doing stuff that it makes Stan and mad. And he constantly uses the entire Smith family as a scapegoat. Oh, and let's not forget at the episode where he exposes himself to Jeff. And now Stan has to decide whether or not to kill Roger. And they do this by basically setting up something for Roger to go back to his home planet. And after 60 years of being stranded on Earth. But as it turns out, the plan backfires because as Roger pushes Jeff into the tractor beam, thus Jeff is way out there. Probably lost forever. While Roger just continues on his life. It seems that he can come up with numerous disguises and numerous alter egos, all of which, by the way, look exactly the same. Just look for someone who has gray skin and a bulbous head and arms that kind of go like this. Yes, I promise you'll find your alien. Now let's move on to number 1. And keep in mind, when I made this list, I was going, for number 1, I was going up until recently. That being Stewie Griffin. Now, from his first season up until, maybe current seasons, Stewie has been pretty much evil. Now he's sort of indifferent. And, I mean, yeah, the fact that he not only wanted to kill his mother, but also wanted to take over the entire world. And in the episode, Stewie, he kills Lois, Lois kills Stewie. He actually succeeds. But, turns out, didn't really happen. And it also is the episode that makes me the most frustrated, and I wish Mysterious Mr. Enter would talk about this one. And because it does not make any sense. And no matter what the comments I've gotten back, accurate response say, Seth MacFarlane made a song for the episode called I've Got a Little List. Based on which Stewie lists off all the people he wants terminated. And when he's finally in power. Or, I mean, yeah, sure, he says the F word once. But they could have censored that out. Oh, it just doesn't make any sense. Well, I'll leave you all off of this. I'll see you in the next video. Oh, and I hope next time I can come up with something a little bit better. Or especially for around Christmas. Till then, see you later.